Hi guys, Dale Walker at Whole Shot, now retired. Well, today I got my GSX-8S on the dyno, brand new. It's got 66 miles on it. The Hornet's all apart. I got the ECU sent off to Nate at Two Wheel Tuners. I'm going to have him do the one on this too. The reason I'm not doing that myself is I don't want to flash people's ECUs. I don't want to do it. Okay, and it's a big investment with the Woolrich and all that stuff and all the programming you need. So I picked the best guys. I got about 3 guys, but Nate's put the time in on this bike. So have a few other guys, but anyway, that's what we're doing. So today we're going to get my stock pulls out of the way, and then what we're going to do is pull the airbox snorkels out maybe. I got a K&N and a DNA air filter. Maybe we'll stick the DNA in it with the open rim. It'll be lean, but well, let's just see what it does. It's not going to hurt it. It has to be tuned. But bone stock bike. So let's get started. Okay guys, before we get started, I ran the dyno, made sure that the firing order was correct. Did a couple pulls. And the very first pull out of the gate is in 5th gear. That's number 1 right there. Okay, and it made 50 horsepower and 41 foot-pounds of torque. And I knew it was a good pull. There was no interruptions. The dyno's reading correctly. Smoothing on 5 like I always do, SAE. And I said, well, do they turn the butterflies off that much? And so I said, well, I went through the bike and I said, yeah, this thing doesn't have power modes, just the traction control and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so then I decided, okay, I'm going to try 4th gear, and that is number 4, and whammo, 23 to 24 horsepower and 10 foot-pounds of torque. So that's how much this thing is shut off from the factory in 5th gear. Can you believe that? So I'll back it out. Okay, so now you can see the graph. That's the blue line in 5th gear. Okay, and yeah, then the torque is the faint one way down there, and then the red line is in 4th gear. 5th gear, blue line, red line 5th. Look at that. Alright, well, let's get on with what we're going to do today. Every intake system to mankind, test it with a stock bike. Pretty cool. Alright guys, so took a lunch break, had my little wall air on, got the room down to 69 degrees. The motor, I made 3 runs in a row, 73, 73, 73, 51.89 earlier, and it was 76 degrees in this room. So this motor, it was only 72 degrees just then after these 4 pulls. Finally it got some heat in it and did break 73 on the third run, which is number 8. But this motor in my room probably likes the temperature to be 74, 75, 73 to 74 to 76 degrees. So right now we're at 73 again. So that's how critical it is. And that's why when I'm tuning stuff myself, I'm really a stickler on that. I usually wait 10 minutes between cool downs, get the room exactly the same within 2 degrees, and make my pulls again. So anyway, that's not what this is for today. Let's just say it makes 73. We made 73 right in a row. So now we're going to dink around, take the seat off, dink around with the air box a little bit, just make some basic little test runs. So let's get on to that. Okay guys, it's a little bit of a pain. If you have a helper, you can pull the battery back a little bit. The front screws are captured, see they won't fall out. You just got to make sure they're fully unthreaded. And you can get a long skinny Phillips down in there without wrecking the screws. Otherwise take the battery up. But we were able to weasel this battery back, get it up just right and get it out. The snorkels, actually I was able to push with a brand new wide screwdriver and collapse them and kind of yank on them, pull them out with the cover, filter cover still completely intact. So let's pull this foam out like everybody seems to do. Let's look at the stock filter. I'm going to take this screen that also is supposed to be a horsepower killer. So we're going to nip these off, pull them off, and then nip them off so no debris can get in. And then we'll put this back in with the cover with no snorkel, and we'll make some pulls to see what my bike does here at 4,500 feet. Okay? Let's do that. Okay guys, here's the stock filter back. Got the screen removed, and I don't even think you need to nip those off. They look pretty clean. You just grab a pair of pliers, have somebody hold the filter forward, and you kind of roll the screen and it'll pop off those melted rivets. But I went ahead and snipped them off with a pair of diagonal pliers. Blew it out a little bit. So we're going to stick this back in with the snorkels removed and make some pulls. So let me get it together and we'll get at it. Okay guys, well we got the room about 73 degrees right now. Should be pretty good range in there where it liked it earlier. And we got the air filter and air box just like I showed you just a minute ago. So we're going to go ahead and make 3 pulls right now. And let's just see what the thing does. 4,500 feet. Here we go. Okay guys, I did a 10 or 11 minute, about a 12-minute cool down. The room is at 75 again now, and I'm going to do 3 more just to see what it does. Then we'll talk about the runs on the screen. Okay? So let's do that now. Okay guys, so you look at that and say, wow, number 4 is one of the best pulls earlier with very similar conditions. It was 76 degrees in the room. When I got done with these pulls, it was 75.8 degrees, and humidity right on the money, 11% earlier and 11% this time in the room. So you look at those numbers, say, wow, the thing only made like whatever, right? It's still a pretty good game right there. But look, remember, this is zero tuning. Throttle blades still aren't open all the way. But look at the graph. So you go look at just peak numbers. That's not the whole story by any means. So the red line is just now. That's with the stock filter still in it, with the lid on, no foam on the back, screen removed in the front, and the snorkel's removed. That's all this is. But look at the horsepower gain down here. That's about 5 horsepower. That's about 6 horsepower. That's at 5 grand. Okay? Then the stock bike takes a real dip right here, and look at it up in here. That's about 7 horsepower, and that's at 6 grand. Right there. See down here? I tried to do this right with the camera for you. And then it comes up, look at the horsepower line. See at peak, that's at around 8,000 RPM right there. About 8 grand. Okay? That's about 2 horsepower. But before that, it's making a lot more. And then look how it's using the airflow, even though the butterflies are still restricted. And of course, the air fuel is lean. It's not lean enough to make it run bad, though. But see, all the way to 9,700 when it shuts off, the rev limiter comes on. I mean, right in this area here, it's 4 horsepower all the way across. So that shows you that absolutely this motor likes more airflow. So yeah, that's impressive, I think, you know. Still sounded fine. I can't put air fuel. I know it's probably 14.5 to 1, and probably still rich up top. Probably under 13 slightly. But anyway, yeah, so now I'm going to take the airbox back apart. I'm going to put the DNA air filter in it with the total open filter with the rim around the filter. And let's try that. But the key is to keep my room consistent. Okay, I did a 10 to 12 minute cool down, so it may take a couple tries to hit the numbers again at about 75 degrees when we start. So anyway, I'm going to get on with the work, and that's going to be the last test we do. Okay guys, well, I'm here. Let's try it. Let's try the DNA filter, just so you have every possibility combo you could try. Let's try the DNA filter. K&N will work just as good with the airbox lid with no snorkel. Let's try that first. Snorkel's gone, DNA. But I got to get the room temperature right. I'm going to make sure it may take me a few tries to hit it like I want, within 1 degree of what I just did, so it repeats accurately. Then we'll go ahead with the open rim piece that DNA sent me with the kit. Okay guys, that was 3 runs, but dinking around with it took longer, and the room and the motor, I want to do my 10 to 12 minute cool down. We got a few minutes to go. It didn't match the other ones, but it's damn close, okay? But I want to do one more fair test. We got the room stabilized now right at 75 degrees. Yeah, but I want to do my 10 to 12 minute cool down on the motor. So we got a few minutes to go here, and we're going to erase these or get rid of them and make 3 more, see what it does. And then we'll move on to the open lid. Okay guys, well we broke 75, 54.6 foot-pounds. Then it dropped to 73. It's just the temperature's within 1 degree or so, you know. But anyway, so that didn't really hurt it or help it. It did make the 74.98, so that's 75. So it's right there how it is right now, set up with the lid on with the DNA. So the throttle blades may be restricting it. We can only use so much airflow, but we may gain some more torque or something like that. So let's go ahead and get the stock lid off and the DNA open ring holding the filter in. Okay guys, if you buy one of these DNA expensive kits, on my bike the outer ring holes didn't line up with beans. Too small, got the bottom 2 in, top 2 are way off. You're dealing with a formed plastic, a different air filter, blah blah blah. So anyway, if you start fighting it, don't you stop, because you don't want to strip your bronze inserts, threaded inserts that are in your stock airbox. So I went up twice on the hole, little at a time, in a drill press, and this is a 15/64, okay? Brand new. Try to use a new bit. Hold it down flat, go real easy. You could also put it on a little block of wood if you want. And the plastic, luckily, is not brittle. It will drill out. Then blow it out all clean. 15/64, and now I got them all started. They're not bound up, and they're all snugged evenly, but that's what you got to do. So there's a tip for you. All right, because of that, now I've got to do some series of pulls with the temperature and all that good stuff. But this may not help anymore. Now we're getting to the point where the throttle blades may not be open enough to, you know, take advantage of this extra air. But only one way to find out, so let's start in. Okay, this is the kit that includes the DNA filter and the ring. And that's the part number. See, combo. Again, if you have trouble with the screws, drill the holes out like I showed you. Okay guys, the open lid DNA ring with the DNA filter is impressive. You got to remember, stock bike, throttle blades still aren't open all the way, and you can't just go by this number though, but that's the first time it repeated 75 horsepower in a row. It's happy, and over 56 foot-pounds of torque on the first pull. So I'm going to hold this with my left hand and shake around a little. I'm going to get rid of the 2 runs. Okay, just show the first one, the best one of that session. And then we're going to go down to, I think it was, yeah, number 19 was the best one prior. Sorry, over here. Okay, so now the red line is 19. Hang on, I'm going to grab the camera again and move the cursor. So the red line is 19, and that's with the stock lid, no snorkels, with this DNA. That's just peak power at, again, 8,000 RPM. See right there? But look at the difference. And what's nice, it's still smooth coming up here. This is 3, 4, 5 grand, right? Horsepower, torque. But right here, the torque starts to climb about 4,800. And the torque corresponds with the horsepower. And this one, it's really, really nice that way. That's about 5 foot-pounds more torque at 6 grand, right there. 4 or 5 horsepower also. And then it holds it. Here's, see on the bottom, 7 grand. Right here. But look at the difference with the lid off right up through here. Then the butterflies are probably closing down. They're not open all the way, and basically it still beats it a little here, but that could be also by the muffler restriction as well as the butterflies, right? But that shows that's a good investment if you're willing to spend the money. Because if you put a pipe on this thing, this is the way you want to go. There's other kits. The next one is the TST Velocity Stacks, but they hurt it in some areas, but they make a couple more horsepower. But you know what? I just decided I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do this setup. I have a brand new Black Widow full system with the muffler I like. And we'll try it with and without the DB killer, and then maybe I can modify the DB killer a little bit. And Nate's flash for this airbox setup. And that's all I need for the street. This thing's still going to be a ripper. Yeah, it's a lot less money. You know, if you were a road racer, then they make airboxes that turn 3 or whatever their name is. Yeah, but it's like $750, $700. Then you got to buy an Aprilia air filter, so you're in it. But that's a race bike then, you know. You don't need it on the street. I think this is the most cost-effective setup. Alright guys, well that's about all it had in it. So number 22 is the best of the first session. Okay, and then number 25 is the first pull of this session here. And it's exactly the same. There's a little blip up here where, you know, it made 1 horsepower for an instant. But so that's about what you're going to get out of it, the way it is right now. Hang on, get my hand out of this camera. So let me, let's just put apples and apples. We're going to do 25, and we're going to do number 4. Bob. So here is, that's the stock bike, is the best, one of the best pulls is number 4, okay? And this is the best pull just now with the DNA filter and the open lid. And that's huge. That's no tuning yet. So look right here, that's about 7 or 8 horsepower right there. Each one of these lines here are 5 horsepower, right? So that's about 7 ponies right in here from when we started with doing nothing, just the, but it's kind of cool. I wanted to do this for you. I know guys have done this, but they've done it over time. I did it all in one day with my same bike, and I tried to keep the room as you know, consistent as possible. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed the day doing this with the 8S. I think it was very informative, and yeah, so the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the whole back end apart, and I'm going to take out the ECU, and I'm going to send that off to Nate and have him do this one too. He's got my Horneted ECU, will be with him any day, and like I say, I like how he buys the bike, owns the bikes. A few other people do wonderful jobs too, but I'm just going to send it to him. They have a sale right now, 50 or 80 bucks off, so I'm doing both. So got this out of the way. Next I'll be putting the full system, Black Widow system on it. Fender eliminator kit, tidy tail, the ECU's off. I need to order a radiator guard while it's pulled down, and a few other little tidbits. But anyway, that's it for this video. Until next time, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the bell. Please make a comment, you know, if you learned something. And I appreciate you guys. God bless you all. I'll see you in the next one.